And I need to tee this one up. This is a bad one. So you might groan on this one, but of course, there's that in me that likes to support the groaning response sometimes. Happy Hanukkah. So it was Hanukkah, and the tiny village was in fear of not having any potato latkes because they'd run out of flour. And so Rudy, the rabbi, was called upon to help solve the problem. He said, "Don't worry, you can substitute matzah meal for the flour, and the latkes will be just delicious." So Sheila looks to her husband and says, "Morty, do you think it'll work?" "Of course," he exclaimed. "Everybody knows. Rudy the Rab knows grain deer." I told you. I'm so glad you love me. In spite of myself. Really, happy Hanukkah. That will begin tonight at sunset, the Festival of Lights. Thank you for just embracing that together. I feel like, I don't know why I said thank you. It's just a part of just embracing every tradition, every beauty that's happening right now, in spite of what the appearances might be. It just feels very important for us to honor and love every tradition. So, and here we are in Advent for peace, and we're also reflecting on the fifth agreement, which is so beautiful because it really wasn't planned this way, that we would be looking at the fifth agreement on this Sunday, where we're focusing on peace, but it just fit perfectly, it seemed. So, all right, so let's review. So here we are, and last week we talked about doing your best, just always doing your best as the fourth agreement. As we look at being impeccable with our word, as we look at not taking things personally, as we look at not making assumptions, that the fourth agreement that Don Miguel Ruiz and his son Don Jose share in the book, The Fifth Agreement, is that just do your best. Do your best to be impeccable with your word. Just do your best not to take things personally or make assumptions. Because, all of us can do our best. And our best changes as we change. As we evolve, our best evolves. So we can always do that. And so here we are with the fifth agreement now. Be skeptical, but learn to listen. So I don't know if you'd ever think that you'd come to church and hear, be skeptical. But that's what we're inviting you to do this morning. So what is that really about? So we're going to go back to the foundation of what we've been in Discovery about exploring, is that, remember that we were all programmed, we were all domesticated, and our parents did the very best that they could. And through our life journey, we've learned, and we've learned a lot that has served us, and we've also learned things that have not served our greatest unfolding, things that are not true about our true essence. And so the authors of the book are just inviting us to ask questions. And we looked at that also around not making assumptions. When we're not asking questions for clarification, we tend to make assumptions, don't we? So this is another opportunity for us to ask questions. Is that really true? Really true? Is what I'm hearing right now from my boss or someone else in my life, is that really true about me? Is it really true what we hear on the news about the nature of the world? Is it really true? So I'm talking about going deeper, folks. I'm going deeper than what we're seeing. My girlfriend, I have a girlfriend that I used to fly with, and she is single as well. And she's a woman that is committed. The woman is she's gonna have that intimate relationship that works one of these days. And she's in her late 40s. And she sent me this video. She likes to share what she discovers. There apparently online is a life coach, relationship coach named Matt Boggs, if you've heard of this guy. But she sent me this video. And what he takes on are the 7 falsehoods of why you're still single. And of course, he addresses it toward women. But one of them is age. And I can see the women in the audience going, yeah. Age, where you live, how you look. Let's see what else. I'm trying to remember them all. Well, the final one is whether you're worthy to receive love. Everything's in God's divine timing. It happens when you're not looking. All these beliefs that are set up around this whole idea of creating a partner. And he challenged every single one of them. And when he challenged them, it's like, that makes complete sense. That no, it doesn't have to do with your age. That's a belief that men only like younger women. Stink eye. That they're not men. You haven't been in my town. Yeah. So, and it was fun, and he did it in a really fun way. But what it said to me is, what we've heard, the beliefs that we think are true, that's what this agreement is inviting us to go deeper, to question. It's the power of doubt at work. And so then there's the second half of the agreement. Learn to listen. Be skeptical, but learn to listen. You know, Jesus is quoted as saying, those of you that have ears to hear, hear. Those of you that have ears to hear, hear. In other words, we all have ears. Are we listening? Are we really hearing? Because what the authors are inviting us to do is to listen to people's stories and to listen in a way where we're very aware. Remember, awareness is fundamental. Where we're aware and we're conscious and we're listening to the story of the person standing across from us with respect and honoring. And we're listening if that person is being impeccable with their word, not from a place of judgment, just noticing. Noticing if they're taking it personally, noticing if there's assumptions. And see, the beautiful thing about really listening to someone is it creates authentic connection. You know when someone's listening to you, don't you? Or you know when someone says, how are you? How are you? Yeah. So it's an opportunity to create authentic connection in relationship. And it's also an opportunity for you to be at conscious choice, to give them what they're requesting. See, often in our conversations, there's a request, whether it's overt or something underneath what they're really saying. And so when we really genuinely listen, what we're doing is we're taking responsibility for our experience. Remember that we are never responsible for the experience of another person. We are responsible for our own. And so when we can be in that space of genuinely listening, we take responsibility for our experience. And then we can have an authentic interaction with the person sitting across from us. Be skeptical and learn to listen. So when you listen, this is what the authors have to say. It helps us understand the meaning of the symbols people are using, and then you can understand their story. And then your communication improves. Because you really know that what they're telling you is a story, but it doesn't mean it doesn't have value in their life. See, as you listen, you can hear the words that come from truth. The person is letting you know what is going on in their world, and that's very important. When you know what someone is saying, you can hear what it is they really want. And again, then you are at choice. Because see, right now, you are listening to me, and you are listening to me with your filters. Right? You are listening to me. It's what we all do when we're listening to someone. We listen, and we try our best to fit what we're hearing into what we already know, so that we have some kind of equilibrium with our belief system. Do you see what I mean? There have been so many times that I've been standing, wherever I've spoken over the years, and someone comes up to me and said, "Oh, I really liked it when you said," and I went, "I don't think I said that," to myself. I don't think I said that. Because it's either not the language I use or not, because I know sometimes I go into another space, but sometimes. But what I got was, that is what they needed to hear. Yeah. So when we're genuinely listening, when we're genuinely paying attention, we can discern and we can know, and we cannot take things personally. And this is all about, folks, us getting to know who we are. Aristotle said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. These agreements, folks, are all about us knowing more deeply what we are. And it's also about us unlearning. See, that's the tricky part. We're getting to unlearn what we have learned that is not true about us. We've learned a lot that's not true about us. And so this is our opportunity in shifting our agreements to just be more conscious, more aware, and to consciously choose how we're living. Be skeptical, ask questions, ask yourself, when you see the news, is it really true? Is it really true that right now we have to be very afraid? Is it really true? I so want to invite you into claiming and knowing the inherent nature of our world. Right now, it's important, folks, that we remember what's true. Are you with me? Yes. Okay. Be skeptical and learn to listen. All right, so this week, let's take this on. So when you're watching the news, when you're out in your life, when you're interacting with people in your workplace, be aware, be conscious. Just notice the story, listen generously. Just ask the question, is it really true what I'm hearing? And the one thing the authors say is, also, don't believe yourself. Don't believe yourself. There are things that we say to ourselves that are so not true. We are sometimes the worst falsehood sayers to ourselves. So to be mindful is what this is calling us to be, and to listen generously, and to claim the truth of what you are. And as you do that, notice the peace of your being, and notice the peace that you create around you. Take a deep breath with me. And let's affirm together. I practice being skeptical to discern what is true. I listen with respect to deepen my understanding of myself and others, and know a deeper peace. And so it is.